We got people trickling in still, people connecting to audio, but welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Broker Connect. Thank you all so much for being here.
We lost Arthur.
No, we didn't lose Arthur. He's getting ready for a dramatic entrance. He's gonna
Why so
roll into
serious,
the
Arthur?
stage.
I'm here, Will. Don't worry.
Wow, we already got questions in the chat. All right, this is gonna be a good session. All right. Um, So someone just immediately dropped in the chat. Where can I buy ARIVE swag? Love this shirt. You gotta come see us. So we go to events. We'll be at, AIM Fuse, other big broker events. I was just at the NBA New Jersey event on Wednesday, and we give this stuff away like it's, a clearance sale. So you gotta find us. We're around. The swag's available. There's no Ride store right now, but I think that might be in the works possibly. We might see like a little swag store soon. Who knows? But right now, I mean, you gotta come see us in the street, and we'll hook you up. So welcome everybody. This is Broker Connect. I am your host today. My name is Vincent O'Brien. I work here at Arrive. With me, I have the real host, the real star of the show, Arthur Miguez. Arthur here is a veteran Arrive user. There are days where I'm talking with him that I feel like he knows the system better than I do. So we're in great hands here. It's going to be a great session. Before we get started, I just want to quickly plug some of our events, get you guys familiar with what we have going on. So we have onboarding sessions for both the company level and user level. We host these sessions weekly. So Mondays and Tuesdays, you can get to onboarding, learn best practices for configuring your account. We also have Q&A sessions 3 days a week. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, we host Q&A sessions where you can come in, ask any questions you'd like. We'll share our screen. We'll walk you through it. We'll try to answer your questions. We also have new user training every Wednesday. It's a 2-part session. There's a lot to cover. So if you're brand new to the system, this is a great place for you to be. And then you definitely want to follow this up by going to new user training on Wednesday. We have processor specific training as well on Wednesday. We also have AE training on Wednesday. So if your account executives are asking for more information about Arrive, how they're working with Arrive, you can send them to the account executive training. When we don't have Broker Connect on Fridays, the alternating Fridays, we have Arrive University. Arrive University is where our CEO, Harish, he jumps on a webinar and he talks about all the new features that are coming to Arrive. We're launching at least one major update every single month. A lot of months, there's two. So just this past Monday, big release came out. We had a new lender in the system. We updated the entire way that you generate email templates. There's so many big changes. We're constantly growing the system. The only way to keep up, go to Arrive University on Fridays. And then we have this session, of course. So this is great. This is a chance for peer-to-peer engagement. You come to the Q&A sessions, you're talking to the Arrive employees all day. We're giving you are very buttoned up, politically correct answers. You can hear from another broker today who's in the same seat as you, going through the same struggles as you and how they tackle that stuff. So these are awesome sessions. I really love every time we get together for Broker Connect. But now let's dive in. So I want to introduce everyone to Arthur here. Arthur is going to be hosting today. And Arthur, do you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself and your background, how you got into mortgages?
Yeah, so I got into mortgages in 2018. Hasn't been that long ago. When started off part-time. Before that, my career was working at Federal Express since I was pretty much out of high school, out of 18. Kind of worked my way through there, corporate analyst, business analyst, engineering, supply chain, logistics, creating solutions, and so forth. On the back end there, that's really where a lot of my background comes from. I was there for 16 years, and then in 2020, in February, I decided to resign because I was doing mortgages part-time, and it was something that you kind of came into that fork in the road as far as what the decision was, and then I went full-time. I joined my current team now, Caliber Home Loans, was there all the way through the end of 23, and the entire team that I had at Caliber pretty much moved us over to Lending Spot, which is a company that we started from scratch last year. And honestly, it's been great to kind of do that. I'm the company admin and kind of lead everything on the technology front. I didn't want to be the admin at first. All I wanted was the administrative password. And with that came a lot more responsibilities than just getting the password. So that's kind of like the background there. I mean, Arrive has kind of been like, I love LOSs. I've used a lot of them, and Arrive has definitely been my favorite so far. And it's amazing to see, like, in the past year, like, as Lenny Spa has grown in the company with Arrive, and seeing like the consistent updates and the growth that's had, and how technology really has been revolutionary. Because coming from a retail banking world and using things like Encompass and others through the broker world, it's a big step, because you always say you have to relearn how to do what you already know how to do. I think that's one of the biggest changes in retail, is how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you navigate? It's always a constant challenge. And thankfully to the team and everyone involved, and we're a great team down here in Miami, and it's been honestly like amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. I love hearing the trajectory. And yeah, you were always destined to be an Arrive company admin. I don't know. I hate to break it to you, but there was no avoiding that. So
Yeah,
really appreciate the background. Also, Lorinda just hooked me up in the comment section. I plugged all of our events and then I forgot to tell you guys where to go. So, arrive.com/events. If you go to our website, go to our events page. All of those events I talked about are there. But without further ado, I'd love to open up the floor to questions. So, anybody in here, if you're new to Arrive, you've been in Arrive for a while, and you know you have some challenges you want to talk about. Please, any questions? Arthur has been through it all. We have a really good resource here, so please utilize him. Who wants to start us off with the first question? All right, we got one in the chat from Mark here. How do we order closing documents from Robertson Anschutz and Vetters and their Docs on Demand program? All right, that doesn't sound like an Arrive question, but Arthur, if you're familiar with that, you're
no
welcome
clue.
to answer it. Yeah, Mark, I don't even know what those are. So I'm not sure how to help you there. Um, how do you input DPA? All right, Gustavo wants to know about setting up a down payment assistance loan. Arthur, do you have any experience with that?
I do. Ironically enough, with the down payment assistance, one of the challenges is to get the AUS in order to pick it up. So I noticed that if you run it on the wholesale side, it gets a little bit difficult in order to get it. So the question is, are you trying to do it for loan estimate purposes, or are you trying to run AUS to get an approval? Because there's workarounds for either one.
Feel free to come off mute, Gustavo, if you want to expand on it, or you can just um, continue in the chat as well.
Yeah, I guess just to run like a scenario, if if you can.
If you know the amount, usually like all down payment assistance usually are credits from local governments. If you go on your loan and property screen on the right hand side, underneath your payment section where you enter like your escrow deposit, you can put a state agency for the amount, and that way you can calculate your
Okay,
cash at close.
got it.
That would be one easy workaround to see how much money you would need and how much the down payment would cover. And then you would just have to do a manual product and basically update your pricing accordingly in order to do it. Now, as far as AUS, that can get a little tricky, and it depends on whether or not you have the ability to go non-delegated or wholesale. I've always shown with that. I don't personally do a lot of DPAs, but a lot of the guys in our office have, so that's the only reason why I know the answer.
There's another section on the left side where it says, I guess the options are affordable, and the other one is mortgage. So which do you touch those for to input down payment assistance?
Not really. I think that's something that Vince can probably answer a little bit better than me because I'll be honest, I personally don't do a lot of down payment assistance. I've helped out a couple times, but it's not necessarily my wheelhouse.
Lorinda, if you wanted to chime in on that as well, we have our DPA specialist in the house, Lorinda, if you wanted to add any color to that. Feel
I
free.
just threw the video that I've done in the chat. It kind of goes through all the scenarios of setting up the down payment assistance. The big thing with the affordable or the mortgage piece, affordable on that drop down only works with LPA. Don't ask me why. But it's the only, you will get an error on that one, and it only applies to the true affordable loans. So if you're running a product that is my brain just went completely blank, like Home Possible with the DPA, that's when you'd use the affordable, but don't use it if you're running DO. So you kind of have to sometimes play with it to run both separately if you need to. So,
Okay, got it. Thank you.
but the video's in the chat. So
Awesome.
All right, thanks.
Vanessa asked, for resi commercial loans, what is the best way to bury them, so to speak, so they don't show up on MCR?
That's a
So
compliance thing. I'm not chiming in on that one.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to give too much compliance advice. One thing I will say is if you're funding a loan, you do not want to adverse it in ARIVE. Like the adverse function, I mean, is a specific tool to mark an adverse action was taken, and that's relevant to your MCR. So you're just going to put it in a different spot of your MCR if you adverse it. It's not actually going to take it off the MCR. Generally, that exclude toggle that you're talking about, if you are in a situation where you need a file to not be shown on the MCR, that's what that button is for. But I don't want to give you too much advice. Like, I'm not a compliance specialist. I'm super underqualified to be helping people actually submit their MCRs. So, use your best judgment with that for sure. It sounds like you know what you want to do. So, I would probably utilize that exclude if you want something not on the MCR. All right, and then Mark said in Calyx, we order closing documents via an integration with Docs on Demand. ARIVE does ARIVE not have that? So if you are on the non-delegated side, we do have a Doc Magic integration. It looks like Adam just beat me to the punch there. If you're on the broker side, we really don't advise disclosing out of ARIVE, right? Like the lenders are going to generate those disclosure packages for you. Sorry to steal your thunder a little bit, Arthur, but I just wanted to offer that. So if you are on the non-doc, we have a different integration for Docs. It's Doc Magic. Yeah, so make sure you're on our non-del plan, Mark. And then you'll have that Doc Magic integration, and you'll use Doc Magic, not Docs on Demand. All right, Din asked a question on ARIVE integration. For now, I know we can integrate with ARIVE through Zapier. My question is, can we call ARIVE APIs directly without going through Zapier? Right now, it's you're going to stick with Zapier. I'm not sure if like an open API is something that may come in the future, but for now, that's the purpose of that Zapier integration is in lieu of an open API. Stealing all your thunder here, Arthur. Sorry, but I feel like these are ARIVE directed questions. If you guys have questions for Arthur, please feel free to bring those in as well. Alex did ask how to run AUS in ARIVE. Arthur, if you want to just speak on that process really quickly while we wait for more questions to roll in.
Assign your product and then just click on the button.
There you go. You heard it here first. There's a big button you can click. Yeah, you'll get Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac credentials too. As long as you have those credentials, it is as easy as Arthur makes it sound. Who is the Zapier master that I can meet with? Arthur, are you using Zapier at all?
I do.
All right. Well, maybe we have a Zapier master in the building then. Well, what questions do you have? You can drop it in the chat, or you can come off mute if you'd like. Either
talk here.
Come on, Will. You can talk. We know each other.
Awesome.
No, I need somebody on the tech side to help me out. My Zap is working perfectly, but I'm not getting the Zaps from for referred by, and I'm having an issue with some of the partners that rolled out just a couple weeks ago.
I can tell you as far as what we've done is I have an in-house IT guy, which is basically been the one that kind of puts all that together for me because it's really time consuming to kind of do all the Zapier integrations and then all the quirks. And at least the way that we use Zapier isn't the way that most people use it, which is for CRMs. Ironically, at Lenny Spot, we don't really use a CRM. I'm kind of anti-CRM to a certain degree. I've never had a CRM in my career, which may be shocking to most, but I think only one person or two people in our office actually use. Will was one of the ones that always did the Zapier. Basically, like once you can extract the data into Zapier, the possibilities of what you can do with that data is really endless. It from there you can create so many different integrations of what you want to do through Zapier. It's just about kind of with all the updates, it's something that requires constant maintenance. But the amount of information you can get what's in Zapier, it's endless. And we have done it a lot. We run daily zaps, we do Power BI reports, dashboards. Because then from there you can add in additional APIs that you couldn't add necessarily through going through one software. So we have APIs through Zillow, APIs through Optimal Blue, through Loan Sifter. Like if there's an API, we basically try to tap into it and then use Zapier data for that. Everything from automating birthday requests and so forth. We've kind of been doing that with our Zapier data.
That's why, Vincent, I need like somebody there because I got it done. It's just I'm having an issue where it's not pushing over the rest of the data that I need.
Well, you may have to hire a tech guy from Fiverr from a third party to kind of do that integration.
I already got him, but we can't figure out the last little piece.
So Will, is stuff not coming into Arrive or is stuff not going out from Arrive?
Out from Arrive, it's just the new update that was done a couple weeks ago where it's the referred by, not getting anything there, and then I'm not getting insurance agent and HOA manager.
Well, so you're saying it's like a recent change. Like, do you think something got like messed up in the last couple weeks?
No, it was an update that you guys did because before you were only pushing over real estate agents and title. That's it. And then they did the update where any partner that you put in there, as long as it's one partner, one type of partner, it would flow over. But I'm not getting it.
It's just not working for you. Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean, you can definitely, if you want to try reaching out to support, we do have, folks in house that, are here for Zapier related questions. So if you want to hit us up at support@arrive.com, the ticket system will flow that ticket as long as you mention Zapier in it to the Zapier specialist. And then you can get in touch with someone that way. But yeah, my guess is that, there's probably just something we can help you out with. So,
All right, cool. I'll put a ticket in.
cool. All right. Christian says, where do we find how to use Zapier and Arrive? I'm new to this tech stuff. Welcome to the tech world, Christian. So yeah, Adam shared a quick video. And if you have more questions, there's the purpose of
Honestly,
go ahead, Arthur.
if you want to learn how to use Zapier or any type of integration, I would highly encourage you to watch a lot of YouTube videos, use whatever AI protocol you want to use, ChatGPT, Gemini, whatever it is. There's a lot of information on there. And I think YouTube is a great source, is how I learn a lot of the stuff that kind of goes on doing Google searches, videos. Like there's endless information. Like the more you kind of watch these things and the more you learn, the more you figure out like what the possibilities are with kind of using the software. Because that way, once you go into the integration portion, you have a better idea of what it is that is possible. Because just exporting the data is not going to give you any result. It's what you do with the data once it's exported. Because for those that don't know what Zapier is, essentially, Zapier is a way that basically taps into Arrive and exports all the data points in your application. And then minus some, sensitive stuff like social security numbers and so forth through the data leaks and so forth. And then from there, you can basically import it into other data sets. So what Zapier basically does is it creates two different softwares. It's the ability to connect two softwares that don't normally talk to you. It becomes a connector. And then it's about how you can basically transfer data seamlessly from one to another, and then use that in the other perils. That's really like in general what Zapier is.
Awesome. And yes, you do, Christian, you get your own account with Zapier as well, but and they have different levels of plans depending on how much activity you're gonna have. And then I see Tracy said we just signed up for ARIVE coming from Calix Zenly. My question is, are there any recommended steps to take before sending out our first application link to a customer? My processor's telling me to get started. So I would definitely, yeah, like Adam said, like the trainings are a great place to start, right? New user training, but more importantly, honestly, onboarding. Onboarding is going to make sure you configure your account correctly. The one more like specific actionable piece I would say is make sure your licenses are in there, like your company licenses and company settings, your individual licenses and user settings before you send any app links out. But Arthur, do you have any recommendations, any first steps, best practices
Yeah.
getting started?
First step would be, like, to piggyback on what you said, set up all your user settings, set up your email integration, set up all your user settings first. I think that's something that LOs were all notorious for, kind of like just skipping the process and not wanting to do the little stuff.
Yeah.
Like, make sure your name is correct, make sure your email is correct, all the little stuff in there. Like, once you have your email connected and everything else, then the integrations work much better. And make sure you have your AUS credentials in there as well. If you want to run AUS, make sure that's in there. Make sure your credit pools are in there. If you're doing a soft and if you have both a soft pool and a hard pool account, all those integrations should be in there first before you even do. I mean, you can still send out the app, because chances are you're gonna burn some time from the time that the client gets the application. But while you send out the link, it's not really going to change anything as far as on the POS side from the bar application side. But definitely when you receive it, you want to be ready to accept the application and go through everything. So I would definitely say send out the application, don't worry about it. But while that's going on, absolutely upload everything that you have. Make sure you do all that. So you're not stuck after with an application, you can't do what you want to do with it.
Awesome. That's great feedback. Thank you for the question, Tracy. We got a couple more questions coming in. Question on ARIVE integration for now. Oh, yeah, we covered that. Arthur, can you show us some conditional automations in ARIVE? So you're talking about like the automation rules there, James?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Arthur's probably a good resource for that. Arthur, do you want to talk about that? If you want, I try to avoid sharing screens, especially like with sensitive bar information. But if you want to, you can.
I mean, conditional automations, there really isn't anything that's sensitive, really, because I'll just go
Yeah,
through
so
rules.
I was just saying, if you want to like get out of your loan pipeline, jump into your settings and share your screen, you're welcome to do that if you want to talk about that for a little bit. I think that's a great topic.
All right, let me go in there.
Alex, reach out to support about that. That's like you don't have to do anything there. If that happens, our support team can fix that for you. We'll get your smart fees fixed. So just hit up support. You can use the chat in the bottom right of your ARIVE account, or you could just simply email support@arrive.com and let them know. We can get that resolved for you. Sorry about that.
All right. So let me go ahead here. Share. Is my share screen enabled?
You should be able to share. I don't see your screen yet, but you should have like permission to share.
I forgot how to share on Zoom. I never share on Zoom. I always share on Teams.
There should be a big green button like at the bottom.
Oh, there, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. All right. Oh, yes. We're good, Vince?
Yes, I see your screen. Awesome.
All right. So conditional automation, basically Arrive launched this conditional automation rule that allows you to basically set triggers, notifications, stop, basically rules that you want to implement. At Landing Spot, one of the bigger things is um we come from a retail world, and one of the things that we love to do is kind of structure. And the whole goal was to create kind of like a retail infrastructure in the broker and wholesale world. And then, as you all know, like there's certain rules that always should be applied to everything. And then one of the bigger things for us was, how can we automate communication? And what we realized is it's really annoying to kind of write an email with the information that's in an application and then just say, hey, this loan, this milestone, whatever it is. So Arrive used to always have, they just updated the template section, and they had that, but it was basically more geared towards external communication during the loan process. So one of the first things that we kind of did is that we made different notifications for the internals and then created rules for those internals based on the parameters that are set. And we were able to kind of go ahead and do those. So I'll kind of show you a couple of the ones that we did. And the whole goal behind this was go ahead and make it to where it's much different based on the audience. So I'll give you a perfect example. This is just when the loan status change. So what we do is we create these trigger items. And I'll do an example of an existing one, and then I'll go to, I can create one if you guys want. You can basically change it based on status. I never do anything based on when a new loan is created, because honestly, I haven't ran into something that I feel that would be needed. So loan status or loan dates are usually the most common ones that we use. Changes to clear to close. I do differentiate what the channel is as a non-del and broker spot. The non-del section is a little bit different because it requires a little bit more on our end from the back end, and you got to notify different parties and so forth. And it's important because a lot of lenders we are both with. So then we put the loan channel, and then we always copy in the loan team. We put our group company email in this case, which is our closing department at lendingspot.net. So that way, like all those emails get grouped in to the Microsoft server to the group, and it's not basically just flooding everyone's inbox. And then it's just about putting all of the data tags. What's the current status, the borrower name, the loan ID, and then you start customizing there at the bottom. So you do broker, closing loan date, contingency date, initial CD date, because you want to know, has my 3 days passed for trade? Has it not? The lender loan number, scenario loan purpose, occupancy. Occupancy is important because you want to know if it's investment and it's a cash out refi, for example. There's no rescission period, even though some lenders still apply it internally. What the loan amount is, scenario. Are you waiving escrows or not? Loan processor, name, rate lock, title company, agent. And it was about basically just, this would be a standard email that a lot of processors and people send out. And what we figured was, if you put all the information in here, they get it. And the most important thing for us was, we didn't want for you to have to go into the loan to find out the information that you needed. So the whole purpose of structuring the email this way is that you're in another loan, for example, you get the email, you already know what's going on, and you don't have to like add any additional clicks because it's literally in the body of the email. But you always have the link to the loan, because if you have a common name or anything like that, it's much easier to navigate it that way. So that's one of the things. So that's a lot of the notifications that we did. And then in order to make those notifications work, we had to implement rules. So what we did was we put loan status changes to clear to close, lender, what type of channel it is, again, because different rules apply to different channels. And then we basically forced all the information to be entered. Because what happens is, if you don't force the information to be entered correctly, then the notification goes out and it's blank and it's missing fields. And it's also from a compliance standpoint to make sure you have a full app. Like make sure like everything is checked off. It makes it a lot easier, especially when working in a collaborative environment, that you know that you got to do this, you got to do that. And that way it kind of forces you to go back and make sure you have complete files. And those are just two of the examples that we've done. we've done a lot more. I think I'm at, shoot, how many have we done already? We're at 86. I'll probably have like another 15 with all the new updates by the end of this week or the weekend. And it the other thing is that it also allows you to kind of customize a lot of things. So one of the things that we did was um we created like these lender contact sheet. So just to guys give you an example, if a loan gets disclosed with a certain lender, we put the scenario in there, we put the lender loan number, everyone's notified. But then what we did was we attach a lender contact list. So in the lender contact list, you basically get the information that you need. So that way, if you're a new loan officer, you don't know who the lender is, you get a PDF and it kind of gives you a full rundown of, okay, who's your account executive, what's the portal, where do I log in? So it kind of helps with the navigation point at that point. I mean, I think we're up to 60 lenders, so we realized that it's kind of difficult to navigate, and we were like, how can we make that easier for the loan officer, the processor, to know where to go and who to call? And that's a lot of what we're doing, is just creating automations to give you information a lot easier without you having to go look for it based on the information that's it.
This is awesome. Seriously. This section can be intimidating. It really can be. Like, it seems like it's complicated, but it's not. It really is just a case of like, I want this to happen. So when we get to this point in the loan, or when this event happens, here's what needs to occur. And it's really just making ARIVE work for you. This is really great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this has been honestly one of the best things that ARIVE has added over the past year. I will say it's been definitely game changing and really saved us a ton of time. And honestly, like, I have to thank the team that we have over here, because it's all about getting other people's suggestions and ideas and things that you don't think about. And I think that's been always like, you never thought about doing stuff. We also do like LOS custom fields as well, customized questions, because while ARIVE does their updates, I'm a little impatient. So what I do is I create custom questions that then trigger rules, which is another thing that we've kind of done as well.
Right. And now Christian just mentioned it would be cool to have a best practice list of what rules to create for brokers. Now, Christian, if you get in there, if you jump into the automation rules section, you'll notice there actually are a handful of rules already built in. Those are some popular, common ones. They also kind of help you understand, when you think about it, like, well, why did they put this rule in here? And you can kind of understand like the why behind some of these automation rules. And then that's why we're doing this with Arthur today. These are some of Arthur's best practices as well. I think
Yeah.
I shared a resource above as well, just breaking down like basically how to create those automation rules. Oh no, Lorinda shared it at 1:29 Eastern. So feel free to check that out.
Yeah, automation rules are great. Honestly, they're at first there's feedback because you're kind of stopping people from, and they force you to do more things, but the communication side and everything else just makes everything better. Because
Alex,
basically what you're doing is that you're creating your own CRM, if you really think about it. Like, what is a CRM? It's the ability to get content and notify people of said content.
right.
Like, that's all you're doing, is basically you're pre-structuring content based on information, and then you're blasting it to someone else, and then they're charging you $350 a month. I mean,
So Alex asks, is there an option to view the current market trends within ARIVE, particularly regarding pricing? So
on the dashboard on the top left.
yeah, so you can set up like pricing templates that show up on your dashboard, so you can just see what current rates are. It's not exactly showing like whether rates are going up or down. It's kind of up to you to be aware of where rates were and where they are now, but you can set up rate alerts. Rate alerts are really the best way to like track pricing movement. So if you have a client, and there's a certain target rate you need to meet, you're able to set up rate alerts to let you know when that target price is met. Have you set any rate alerts up, Arthur? Have you played around with that?
I did recently. I did started using read alerts for the first time recently. The only issue with read alerts, I mean, it's fine because I think I'm signed up with every single lender that you guys have currently. Most of my lenders are still manual, but I have started playing around with rate alerts for once rates kind of settled in a little bit before the 10-year went back up, in order to go ahead and get alerts on certain refi opportunities. Is the way that I've been using it. Like, for refis, they're sitting there, and I know what my target rate is for the savings or whatever. I do kind of started playing around with that, and I'll probably start playing around a little bit more with it on purchases. I just started using it maybe like a month ago.
Awesome. Will asked if we can just quickly demo it. I'll share my screen for this, Arthur, just because I don't want you necessarily
Sure.
having to click around those specific screens. Real simple. So first of all, with the dashboard, right? If I go to my dashboard up here at the top left, I have best rates. You might be getting a message saying that you don't have template set up. So the first thing you have to do is go into your user settings, and in your user settings, there's this tab called pricing templates. And what you do here is you basically set up the scenario that you want rates for, right? Like obviously different LTVs, different credit scores, all these different things. Like you want to tell us like, hey, this is what you're going to price out. This is what you're going to spit rates out for. So once you create a scenario like I did right here, you then want to click this little star, and that makes it the dashboard default scenario. All right. So put your scenario together, star it, and then it'll live on your dashboard, and you'll get a quick look at the rate leader right there. All right. Now, as far as the rate alerts, you can do it from within a loan file, but you don't need a loan file. You can just always go into pricing anytime. It's always easier when you do have either a loan or a lead, though, because then you can just go into that file's pricing. You'll price out, whatever it is you want to price out. And then over on the right-hand side, next to the apply button, there's a little drop down here. And one of these options is set rate alert. So you do that. This is where rates are currently, right? So your client says, I'm not going to refi until it's like 5.5, right? Or better. So you can choose 5.5, and you're going to see the price move, right? You're going to see whatever the cost of 5.5 is right now, 11 grand. So they're like, hey, yeah, give me a call when 5.5 is par, right? So you say the target price. So when this rate costs $0, set rate alert. And now I'll get an email. I will, not the client. They email me, the loan officer, hey, this client's target rate has been achieved. So you can give them a call now. So it's that easy. Simple enough. Hope that's helpful. You have to select a specific lender. No, you don't actually. So you do choose a product when you're setting the alert, but then the alert asks you like, you want to shop this with all lenders. So like you see here, I have all these lenders selected. If I go back in real quick, just to show you what it looked like. So yes, like I am like this is a PennyMac product that I'm clicking on, but when I'm setting the rate alert, it asks me up here, which of these lenders do you want included, right? So if there's any lenders you don't want, like I don't care if this lender hits that rate, I'm not sending a loan to that lender. You can always exclude them, but it's going to shop the lenders with that rate alert. It is cool. I agree, Alex. The bots are entering the chat now. Awesome. All right. What else, guys? Had some great questions. Did I miss any questions? There's been a lot coming in the chat. Looking good. Any other questions about automation rules, guys? I know that's like it's one of our newer features. It's very underutilized, and I know, like I said, it can be a little daunting to get started with it. But but hopefully you saw from Arthur how beneficial it can really be. All right, Arthur, I have a question that was just sent to me. Feel free to just send it to everyone, guys, so everyone can see your questions. But what is your favorite feature in Arrive? And maybe besides the automation rules, because it sounds like automation rules might be number one. But what is your favorite feature?
Tough one. I would probably say the ability to email and do everything within Arrive really helps. And I think probably the one that I think that I like the most is the document editor.
Yeah,
I think
like
the document editor is actually like, because a lot of people ask you for Adobe and so forth and all those other features. And the document editor does a really good job of moving documents around, moving up or down, rotating and so forth. I think the document editor is actually like a really underused feature. I think it's really good. It's one of my favorite ones. And honestly, I just like the overall simplicity of it. The fact that you can go as fast as you want on the file, and like the little things such as like entering property taxes in an annual form, with the automatic division by 12, and also the updates to the credit section as far as like if you have to calculate student loans, being able to put the exact percentage and mass. That one is also a huge time saver on that. And anyone who has ever imported someone that has student loans into an Encompass realize what a time consumer that is, determining what that payment is, whether you're going 1%, 0.5%, or so forth.
Yeah, true. You did mention too, like the emails you sent out of Arrive. Have you gotten a chance to check out the how you can have different templates now for the different loan status updates?
I have.
That was like
I'm just
this week we launched a new feature, guys. Where
Yeah,
now
I saw.
you can your verbiage to your borrowers can now differ from the verbiage to your realtors for the same updates. Is that something you've looked at? You've looked into
I
maybe?
have looked at it. I have looked at it. I haven't decided yet how best to use it,
Yeah.
because it kind of goes back to what we did on the back end with the automation,
Yeah, I mean, it
and
looks like
then
you have a lot of those kind of.
and determine kind of that, and then what the features are. The only difference is that because it's customer facing, you don't have to put like as many rules on it and so forth. But I'm interested to see like what you can develop and kind of do it and so forth, right? Like changing, like using property address instead of using loan number, stuff like that, because
Right.
that's really like what they identify with, and being able to kind of change that messaging as well for a lot of status updates. I'm really interested to kind of see, and also possibly integrate it to the text platform as well. I haven't really done much with it. It just launched this week, so I kind of
Yeah.
have to go ahead and wrap my head around and see what I can come up with.
There was also in that update, notes became way more interactive. So that's another exciting one. Have you seen that? Have you explored that at
Yeah,
all?
I have. We use Notes a lot. Notes is huge. It really helps kind of like streamline communication within it. So Notes has been big, and then now being able to reply from an email into Notes has been really good. So
Yeah.
that's been honestly like a huge update. And I think that's just going to help communication, because the reality is people live in their inbox, kind of like the habit that people have. And then being able to do that even from mobile and so forth is cool.
For those that aren't familiar with what exactly you're talking about, can you describe a little more like what's going on with the notes and how it works in
So
handling with
basically,
email?
whenever you write a note in Arrive on the right hand section or so forth, what usually always happens is you write the note and so forth, and it gets sent out a notification to whatever the parties are. Usually, it defaults to anyone on the loan team.
Yeah.
So what happens is sometimes for me as an admin, I'm not assigned to every single loan. So like I would have to go in and I would put comments on the loan or whatever. But then if they were reply back, if they didn't reply an email, they replied in the right, I wouldn't get the notification because I'm not part of the loan team. So now what happens is that when you reply to the email itself, the email reply also goes into notes. So that way the additional communication that happens after the fact remains within the ARIVE ecoverse. So that helps that if you want to come in later on, you can actually see the entire conversation, right? And that's really helpful.
That is like, it's like next level stuff. I'm really excited about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then Will ask a good question. I think the answer is no, but can you zap notes? I don't think you can, right?
I don't think so.
Like send a note like to your
No, because if you think about it, like Zap usually exports like in a CSV file.
Yeah.
So what were you like? How are you going to separate it by creating like multiple columns and so forth in cells? Because
Right.
basically, like it would have to be formatted in a way that it'll be impossible to format. I think.
Yeah.
To go ahead and zap notes like that. Maybe you could do it, Will, if you create a custom question as a note, because then what happens is that becomes an individual report, and then that way you can consolidate it. That would be the only way I would think about that you could do it.
Denesis Martinez asks, Arthur, can you tell us a little bit about using ARIVE reports for payroll and LO commission purposes?
Well, that's been huge when that launched. I think that launched almost about a year ago, and both on the wholesale side and the non-del side. We started implementing it probably for like within like the last 3 months. And it's a great tool. It basically gives you a breakdown of what the commission is. If you're a broker owner, so forth, where there you can go ahead and enter the commission and you can pull your reports and so forth. So that LOs now have basically like a commission report that they can pull, they can validate, and they can verify. And that's been a huge feature on it. What I don't know is when one of the things I've kind of struggled is how does it look on the LO side versus on the admin side? Because I'm not sure like what access to reporting they have. I know the funding and revenue, sometimes there's restricted access versus on the overall pipeline report. But as far as being able to manage payroll, it's been a complete game changer. And then on the non-del side as well, it's really big as well to be able to do that.
I'd be happy, Arthur, in one of our Q&A sessions to show you what a non-admin sees on those tabs as well. If that's something you're curious about, we could do that in one of our
Yeah, I'll just take someone's password.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah.
Right. Alex asks, if a borrower is refinancing 4 properties, can we create one account and clone it for the others, or do we need to complete 4 separate applications?
Create one and clone.
Yeah, here's the thing, Alex. Like, if for them to log into their like borrower portal, it's not gonna support simultaneous open loans, unless there was a recent change. But I'm pretty sure the first loan needs to fund before you can start like working the next loan.
No,
US
no.
Is that different now, Arthur?
I do a lot of multi-packs.
Okay.
And so these are kind of a pain in the butt right now. What usually you do is you take the single application. So if you're doing 4 loans for the same borrower, I'm assuming is what you're trying to do is your borrower information is going to be the same. The only thing that's going to change is your loan and property screen. So you create your original application. Once you create your original application, you clone 3 more.
Right.
Because the only thing that then changes you when you clone them, you're going to clone them as a TBD. What I would suggest is do the first application, upload all your docs, because when you clone the loan, the docs automatically move. Then the tricky part is to make sure you don't screw up the qualification is because you're going to be opening new mortgages, you're going to have to start really playing around with the tying on the REO section as far as making sure that the REOs you have with the new REOs and so forth and matching it out. But yeah, the process would be create one full application, then clone them out. When you clone them out, just throw it as a TBD. So you don't trigger TRID. And that way you can go ahead and start implementing them like that.
Right. Yeah, what I was trying to add as a disclaimer is like only one of those files is actually going to be connected to that borrower's portal.
Right. I mean, but at that
so
point,
all the document requests need to come through that first.
Yeah, but you just do one application for that, and then you just move them over. Like, don't complicate the borrower because the borrower conditions are gonna be the same. The only thing that's gonna change are gonna be the property conditions.
Right. Alex says, why I'm asking, when we are sending e-sign to him, he's only able to open in one app. That's what I was getting at, Alex. Like any request you need to continue to make, you just need to make sure you're requesting them through that initial
No, but if you go through the e-sign, just send it as an
link.
external link.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So what you would want to do, like if you need to generate a form that has like that loan file specific information, like imported into the form, you can send e-signature requests outside of the borrower portal. So you can, there's a toggle that says external link. If you turn on the external link toggle, you'll have the ability to just send it straight to their email to e-sign. All right, Mina says, for the rate alert feature, you cannot set it up on a funded loan. If your loan's in read-only status, you might have an issue. But theoretically, you can always just go into the pricing engine and hit reprice, set the rate alert, and then not actually apply a new product, so you don't mess up your
But
fund.
if it's funded, just clone it.
You can always do that as well. Yeah. I mean, and you can also.
I mean,
so what
cloning
I
takes
do,
4 clicks.
I would clone it and then also convert it to a lead. That way you don't have like an incomplete app just sitting in your loan pipeline. So you can clone it and then you can convert the cloned loan into a lead, and then you can set a rate alert from the lead section.
The rate alert works perfectly on a funded loan.
Even if it's read only though?
Yeah, because you're not applying anything.
I didn't
You're
know
just,
that.
yeah, I've had it work fine. Like,
Cool. All right, well there you go, Mina. Lorenda's positive. It's not letting me reprice a funded loan. Yeah. I don't
Just
know.
clone it.
I would
Yeah.
just clone it. Can I get a copy of the recording of today's Broker Connect discussion? John, so Kelly, our marketing queen, she's gonna post this to our YouTube channel, probably like early next week. So I'll drop the link to that, but just stay tuned there and you'll see it. Subscribe, give us the old follow on YouTube. And there's a lot of good stuff on there. There are other Broker Connect sessions. Our Tenacity Talks sessions are on there. There should be some partner spotlights on there as well. So a lot of good stuff. How do you clone a live loan and not your TRID?
Hit the TBD switch.
There you go. Yeah. When you clone, all the TRID information pops up. And so you have the ability to take any of that info out. So you can switch the address to TBD. You could take like their social security number out. You could take the loan amount and the property value out, whatever you want to do. Just take one of those pieces out. Easiest one is just making it a TBD address. Can you talk about ARIVE forms and how it makes it easier to generate documents by adding tags and avoiding human errors? Arthur, a little layup for you. You want to talk about it?
So ARIVE forms. ARIVE forms, basically what we realize is that there's a lot of forms that ARIVE already generates, which are kind of like your standard forms that you have, whether it be verification of employments is one that's pretty common and so forth, at least. So what we did was we realized that a lot of information is just like my biggest thing with, to go back as to why my biggest dislike for CRMs at the beginning was because of my previous lenders, they would not allow me to integrate with their system for their company policy. So then it required a double entry. So I kind of have this thought of like, if I can reduce a double entry, I'm going to figure out a way to do it. So what you can do is you can go to ARIVE forms, and through ARIVE forms, they have like these things called dynamic fields. So what happens is using these dynamic fields, what it does is it pulls the data from your application. And a lot of times you can even create even more fields than what you would in your email templates. So what it allows you to do is you can generate that information that you may need for a multitude of things that you may need. And you can even upload custom forms that you may have. If you want to create credit card authorization forms, borrower forms. If a lender requires a certain gift letter, you can upload it like that. There's a ton of information that you can kind of go ahead and do that. And by having dynamic tags, it just makes it to where it automatically updates it based on the application for the individual form. I think it's a little time consuming at first, I will say, because you're basically creating like a bunch of Adobe PDF prepared forms. But the time that you can save is huge. Like when you do a lot of volume, the ability to minimize the little things is really adds up very quickly. And then it also, like Maker said, reduce human error. Like all it takes is one typo for you to have to redo the letter or redo this or redo that.
Awesome. All right, guys, we only have a couple more minutes. So if anyone wants to squeeze in a last minute question for Arthur, Arthur, thanks again. Really appreciate having you here. This has been great. So guys, last call on final questions. Thank you everybody for attending and participating. It's turned out to be a
Sarah
really
said she was gonna ask a question, but she hasn't asked any.
Who's that? Who was this a question?
Tara.
Tara.
She says she was gonna ask a question. She told me she would, but she hasn't asked anything yet.
I was just making sure you were prepared.
All right, Tara, what do you got? Give us a question.
I was just teasing him.
All right, all right. All right, guys. Well, we can wrap up here. Thank you so much for
I have
your
one
time.
question, Arthur.
What's that, Will?
No, I want to ask Arthur a question real quick.
Yeah, get the question.
Okay, hold on. Can I have your Netflix password so I can watch the fight tonight?
Sorry, well, not happening. No chance, buddy.
All right.
Vince, I do want to chime in real fast and just say Arthur is a regular as well as Will to our Ask Arrive sessions. So you can always pop in there and catch him there. We always wind up having Little Broker Connect sessions during our Ask Arrive. So
Yeah, I would definitely thank Tara, Lorinda, Vince on the Ask Arrive questions. I think it's something that a lot of people should join. It's amazing what you can learn from other people in the industry as far as what's going on. And I think it's really an amazing resource just to collaborate and get ideas. Like the reality is that mortgages are simple, but everyone kind of has a different twist on how they do things. And Ask Arrive is really a great resource for that and what you can apply to your business to make your life better and easier and provide better service for your customers.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Arthur, and thank you, Tara. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate the participation. This was a great session. And this time next week we should have an Arrive University on, but make sure you make it to future Broker Connects, future Q&A sessions. Fill up our events. We really appreciate you guys. And thank you one last time to Arthur. You were awesome. And thank you so much for sharing all the insights.
Hi,
Well,
Arthur.
thank you for having me. Later, Will.
Bye, everybody.